Hello and welcome to the next video on the Horsforth Dental channel. Today I'm going to be talking all about sugar because reducing the sugar in your diet is one of the best things you can do to look after your teeth and your health in general. And if you want to keep illnesses like heart disease and type 2 diabetes away, then cutting down on the sugar is quite essential. One of the take-home messages from today is that you are going to get a little bit of sugar in your diet. It's kind of unavoidable, but try and have those sugar hits at mealtime so that the gaps in between meal times are as sugar-free as possible. That includes fruit. Fruit is super good for you, and I want you to make sure you're eating it, but try and have it and keep it to meal times, because if you graze on it all day long, it can be just as damaging as eating things that are more obviously bad for your teeth. I'll explain that with a bit of a diagram. So what happens is when you eat sugar, there is bacteria that lives in the plaque on your teeth. Now, one particular species, Streptococcus mutans, they will ferment the sugar and they turn it into an acid. And it's this acid that then goes on to cause holes in your teeth, which you don't want. Fortunately, within your saliva, you have things that will help fight off that acid and stop it causing holes, but it needs time to work. So if you're giving yourself those gaps in between meal times where you're sugar-free, you're much less likely to get decay that way. So have a little look down here. We've got some sugar cubes representing how much sugar you should not exceed each day. Now, one sugar cube is a teaspoon. For a child, that is 6 sugar cubes, which is 24 grams, and for an adult, it's 30 grams, 7 sugar cubes, and a toddler is less still. So it's not a lot, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to go over this without really knowing. So if you start the day off with something like this, these are Coco Pops, this is a 30 gram serving. I don't believe anyone ever sticks to 30 grams. I know I'd have a lot more than that in the bad old days. So within this 30 gram serving, there are 2 cubes of sugar. Now, if you have a little bit more, you're going to have 3, 4 cubes of sugar right from the get-go. If you're trying to keep under this amount, not a very good way to start the day. The take-home message here is try and find cereals without chocolate or sugar coating, much less sugar in, and much better start for the day if you're keeping the sugar down at breakfast. This kind of stuff just really isn't very good for you. You should be having it as a treat only, otherwise, try and keep it away. Grown-ups, tea and coffee. This is a really common way to graze on sugar because you tend not to have it at meal times. And if you're putting sugar cubes in all day long, 3, 4, 5, 6 sugar cubes per day, you're getting very close to your total intake just from the tea and coffee alone. So if you are having sugar in your tea or coffee, try and cut down and wean it away. Ideally, you don't want to be having any. Let's talk about snacks and naughty things. For instance, this bottle of Coke. Within one bottle of Coke, you have 12 cubes of sugar. That's nearly double what an adult should have in just one go. Now, this apparently is 2 servings, but I don't think many people would divide this into 2 separate servings per day. They'd just have the whole lot, wouldn't they? I've got this here, another example, particularly because it says on the bottom that it's the official drink of British athletics. So that means if you drink this, you're going to be super strong like an athlete. Well, actually, that's not quite right. If you drink this, you're going to get 10 cubes of sugar just from this 400ml drink. Not really very good for you. Got to be careful. Sugar everywhere. Something more innocent. This is a can of baked beans. Now, just in half a can of baked beans, there are 2 cubes of sugar. So you've had sugar for your breakfast, and then maybe if you're grown up, you've had a cup of tea with a couple of sugars in, and then you've had half a can of baked beans with your lunch. You've already done your sugar, and that's before you've had any snacks or anything else, or your tea, or any desserts. You've got to be careful. So there are cans of beans available without the added sugar in. Takes a bit of getting used to, but much better for you, and I'd advise you to find things like that and start taking all these added sugars out of your diet. You have to kind of think about it. Takes a bit of getting used to, but it is good for you. Sweets. Commonly see parents pick up the kids from school and the first thing they do is give them a sweet. Whilst that's very nice and the kids obviously love it, unfortunately it's not very good for them. Mini eggs are very popular this time of year, but just 8 mini eggs is 4 cubes of sugar in 8 mini eggs. Now you have to be super disciplined if you only have 8. Humans are designed to finish the foods. It's very difficult just to eat half a packet of something. You open it, you want to finish it. So loads and loads of sugar in that. You've just got to be careful. Sweets, definitely have them as a treat. It's completely fine to do that, but not every day. Try not to have them every day. And certainly when you do have them, keep it at meal times. So if your kids are hungry in between meals, what do you give them? Well, the answer is here on this plate. You can give them nice simple snacks that's actually nutritious for the body. Cucumber sticks, pepper sticks, carrot sticks. You can dip it in a bit of hummus. Super tasty treat. Little tip, if the kids don't want to eat this, they're not hungry, so they don't really need a snack. Our sugar craving is something that stems from our caveman days. Sugar is really full of energy, but when we were hunter-gatherers, it was really hard for us to find. But when we did find it, we were programmed to really go for it. That's why when you eat sugar, you can always seem to get more in, and if you've had a really big meal, you seem to always be able to eat dessert. And that's because we're programmed to get sugar in fast. Now that was great when we were hunter-gatherers, not so good now where sugar is abundant, and if we want to, we can have it all day long. So we have to be careful. I'm going to show you another diagram here because I think this is really interesting. What we're thinking now is that there's bacteria that live in your gut that really want sugar, and the way they make sure they get it is they release chemicals to the brain that tells our brain for us to go and find sugar. We feed ourselves, and hey presto, the sugar ends up right where the bacteria want it. The good news is here that if we manage to cut our sugar down, eventually these bacteria die off. They will stop releasing this chemical and stop tricking you into wanting sugar, and your sugar cravings disappear. I find that really weird and interesting, and I'll leave references up at the end of the video so you can have a little look for yourself about that, because I think it's really cool. So at the end of the video, I'll put other references up about healthy eating if you want to do any further reading yourself. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I've really enjoyed making it, although this is about my 8,000th take. Take care, and I'll see you next time.